Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about the books I read in February, and February was the worst reading month I ever had. Not ever, but I had in like months, years, I don't know. I ended up on 23 books. I didn't even read like a book for every day, which is weird to think about because thesis really took over my life and I had to really like focus on work on that. So all of the days I didn't have time or energy to read a full book. I just like read maybe half of it or just like 100 pages or something or less. I was also sick and didn't listen to audio for like a week, and there's a lot of audio here because that is literally saving my reading right now. But I'm hoping to get back into things when the thesis is finished and read loads again, because now I feel like everything is going too slowly or not at all, and it is annoying me. But yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the 22 books I read in February, and hopefully then this video will be very short, right? Because I am not talking about like 60 books, you know? My first read of the month was The Midnight Lie by Marie Rotowski. This was for the Lumatere vlog. Ironically, I have the Fairlit edition, and this one is set in this war where these two girls starts working together. One of them is like from like the lower parts of the city, and the other one is like more of a noble in the city, and they want to work together to take down this city that is very corrupt, and then gods are maybe returning, etc. It is the first in the Forgotten Gods duology, and I felt like it was fine. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't not terrible. I felt fine about it. I liked the characters fine, but like I wasn't like blown away or anything by it, and I gave it a 3. I honestly feel like I could have said more, but like I don't have more to say. Then we have The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. This was a Christmas gift from Aslo, so thank you so much to her. And I buddy read this with Johanna now in February, and I felt fine about this one as well. It basically is like 3 short stories where we have a main character whose grandpa just died, and he owned a really like unique used a new bookstore with really unique books, and we go out on like these different journeys. We just talking cat to save books in different ways. In like for example the first short story, we have Lam saving the books for this dude that like is reading them like literally to like he's just reading them and like keeping all the books in trophies, so it's kind of like they're in prison, and then he's just like reading and never rereading and never like appreciating what he's reading. His goal is to read as much as possible and own as many books as possible. Am I mixing up the short stories? I don't think so, but it's like that's kind of like the different stories in this story. I felt a bit of like book elitism from the book, where it was very much like you need to read and do and think about books in a certain way, or else you don't love reading and books. And I felt I was gonna say I felt personally targeted, but not really. It was not really about that. It's very much like if a person wants to just read 400 books a day and just like enjoy them and then never read them again and keep them as trophies, doesn't matter. It was very much like this thought manner of like you have to appreciate them, you have to treat them in a certain way. And then there's like 2 other short stories. It's not just short stories that do belong together, it's like a different case in each story, I guess, where like it was similar, not exactly the same cases, but like similar ones. And while I do agree to some certain extent of the things the books were trying to say, it did also feel for me like a bit, I was gonna say preachy and elitism. I'm the kind of person who's like, do whatever you want with your books, read however you want to read your books, treat your books as you want to. You bought them, you spent money on them, they are yours. Like no one can stop you from doing whatever you want with them. Just don't mistreat other people's books and shame other people. So from that made me not like the book as much. I thought it was like going to be cozy, etc. And I did see what the book was trying to do, but as the readers I am, it annoyed me to some extent, and I gave it a 3. It was a cute talking cat. Then I finished Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I listened to this on audio, got it pretty early, like as it released, and I don't have my physical copy yet because it's not gonna arrive in, I don't even know when it's arriving, honestly. I feel like everyone and their mother has read Onyx Storm. I don't know what to say. I enjoyed for what it was. It was entertaining. It's a good world. I enjoy like the politics of it, etc. And the secrets being revealed. And then Iron Flame just felt like a really, really long thing that just never ended. I mean, like just kept going over and back. Like there's a fight scene, there's talking. There's a fight scene, there's talking. There's a sex scene, there's talking. And I feel like we never really get anywhere. We never really get any answers. And then in Armor Flame, I was like, okay, fine, but it's the second book, so like obviously we can't get everything. But then Onyx Storm, I felt like I was just reading Iron Flame again, and I had all the same issues I had with Iron Flame, where I felt like we were never getting anywhere. We were just like talking, and like yes, we got like a few answers, but really we got more questions than answers. And I do get that we are in a 5-book series. We're gonna get 2 more books, but it also annoys me that we're gonna spend like I just wanted some answers and some more pieces in the story, where like it is obviously keeping all these things secret because they want you to read on, and like obviously they can't reveal everything in the third book. But I don't want everything to be revealed last minute in the final book in the series. I want us to be able to work with what we get in a way. And I don't know, I just felt like I was reading Armor Flame again, and in Armor Flame I was very bored. I just felt like it lasted too long, and I did feel the same about Owning Storm. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it, and I'm not saying it's not entertaining, and I do enjoy As I Said the World. I do care for the characters to some extent, but then overall I was just like a bit bored. I was just like, is this over soon? Are we gonna get anywhere? And I really felt that we never got somewhere in the story, and I gave this a 3 as well. Apparently I just give everything a 3, but obviously I am gonna complete the series because I do want to see where it's gonna go. I listened to audio for all of them, and I really like the narrator, and it's like really like nice chill audio that I'm just chilling with, so like I don't mind it in that regard. And obviously I want to read them as a release to be on a hype train and all that, but overall just feeling very like I wish the story for me was structured differently, because the way the story is structured right now is not the type of fantasy story that I enjoy the most. That's what I'm trying to say. Right after that, I listened to Dangerous Remedy by Kat Dunn. This was also for the Crate, and I could only listen to it on audio because it wasn't possible to get like the ebook. And this one is set in like the French Revolution, or like right after it. And then we have different factions that want like the noble houses back, and then like the revolutionists that want like the new regime or whatever. We have 2 different girls that are together in an established relationship. Really love that. And then they find this girl that has been experimented on. She has powers that they need to protect her because everyone wants to keep a hold of this girl. And then like there's like different politics and like a bit of betrayal, etc. But basically they're just working for free France, and it had like a certain atmosphere in that story of time. I found this okay. Again, I really liked the established relationship and like the trust they had in each other, but just like the plot was fine. I wouldn't say it's like set in my like favorite historic time either, but I did really find it when I went to school a billion years ago. I did like learning about the revolutions, etc. It's very fascinating history, but like overall I just felt totally fine about the whole thing. And I do believe I gave it a 3, but honestly I can't remember the second. Then I read Havenfall by Sarah Holland, again for the Lumatere vlog. We are set in this mountain in this inn, and this inn is the portal to many different worlds. So like it is like the meeting point for like missionaries, etc. to meet each other. Missionaries, that's maybe not a word, messengers, deals to happen. And then we once closed the doors to like one of the places because there was only monsters there, and now that door might be opening again. There's murders happening. We have a main character who is the niece to the innkeeper, and she wants to be the future innkeeper. I really like the atmosphere of like our setting, while like I wasn't that invested in the characters or the plot, but it was just like fine. I thought I would honestly hate more. I did enjoy how it was written and like learning more about everything, and I enjoyed, like as I said, the setting was very nice for me, but overall I just felt fine about it. I do believe I gave it a 2 or a 3, but I need to double check my ratings, and honestly is ratings that important, so yay. I did read very little manga in a month, which is also probably one of the reasons I read so little, but they had Banana Fish Volume 16, which was the next one in Banana Fish, which follows these gangs in the 1980s in New York City that are all trying to get at each other basically, and they are investigating this drug called Banana Fish. What happened in this one? I mean, it's not like we talk about it, but it's dramatic, it's sad, it is dramatic. I really enjoy it. I have now 3 volumes left, so I'm a bit sad. I honestly thought I would finish it in February, like the whole series, but since I read so little, I never got like enough manga to get there. Which is like, granted, good for my wallet because I need to buy less manga, but bad for everything else. Then I read A Girl and the Stars by Mark Lawrence, which was next for my Lumatere vlog. This one I borrowed at the library, and then I found out it was on Abraham all along, and I felt really silly. I honestly did not care for this. I know it's set in the same world as like the red something, what's it called? The Red Sister? Is it called The Red Sister? It's the other fantasy series by Mark Lawrence, one of the others. And it's set in the same world. We have like an ice world, and then they're going somewhere, and then everyone really likes this main character, and I could not get into it, and I did not enjoy myself. And I do believe I should have given it a 1, honestly, when I reflect on it, but did I give it a 2? Because that seemed very generous of me. Obviously, I talk about all these in order in a much better way, I hope, in my Lumatere vlog, but yeah. Let's move on. Then I finished Guiding Rain Storm by Mo Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, which was the next one we needed to read for the Wheel of Time read along. And the live show has already been in February, so I read it before that. It is like my favorite in the series. It has some like really great scenes. Overall, we have 2 books left. Oh my god. For my second reread through the series, kind of already want to reread it. I do believe, did I lower my rating or did I still give it 5? I feel like I could give it like 4.5 this time, but like it has some really, really cool parts, and I'm excited to read the next one. But oh my god, what a series and the way it's written. But still, it is such a ride. Then I read A Quarter from Miracles by Kester Grant. This was also set in like France. I don't remember if it was like under the revolution, but like it had like different, like a bit of the same vibe as Dangerous Remedy. This is like, yeah, because it's like after revolution, and then the France is controlled of like different guilds. Or do I remember incorrectly right now? And then we have a main character who joins one of the guilds, but really she's just there to look for a sister. So she's just like, she doesn't care about anything, and then she's just looking for a sister. I didn't like this as much as, for example, Dangerous Remedy. I just like didn't care for my character, didn't care for the plot that much. I was not really having a good time, and I do believe I gave it a 2. I should have given it a 2 at least. My next audio was then Hamma Jang L by Makana Yamamoto. Oh, this one was actually really great. Finally. I felt like I was just reading like mid things, or like not counting rereads and manga, but like mid things through the whole thing. But we have this main character, which I have now in this second forgotten the name of, but I tend to forget main characters' names, so yeah. They just came out of prison after being betrayed by one of the closest to them, and they're trying to go straight, but then like there's like a lot of medical expenses, etc. in their family. So they're agreeing to this one last heist. And then we have like a little crew and we go on this heist, and it was a really great time. It was kind of like a sci-fi setting. I felt like we were on like a ship, and I was very much like a lot of commentary of like how people in the society were rich and how they were doing, and then like people who were not like rich, how they were doing, and basically a commentary of our society, obviously. And then I just really enjoyed the characters. I really liked the tone of the story and the setting, and it was done really well. I really enjoyed it. I give it a 4, and I cared a lot for everything happening, so I really much recommend this, and I was very surprised. And here in this case, by the way, love the US cover. Do not like the UK one at all. Then I read To Cage a God by Elizabeth May. Some of these Lumatere books are very much out in order. Depends a bit like when library loans, etc. come in and expires. I could not even tell you what this is about. We have like characters who have like gods inhabits their bodies. And then like they need to like control and fight them to use their powers. And then we are going into this whole thing because, yeah. And I will honestly say that I did not really care for it, and I did not really have a good time with it. And I do believe I gave this one a 2 as well. Can I explain why? No, because I honestly was confused about the whole thing. Or I didn't like care for the whole thing, so I was just like, ugh. Then I could finally read another manga about, or this case, our manhwa, graphic novel. We have Solo Leveling 10. Very excited to read this. Actually, 11 just came as well. And we basically have a main character who's like leveling up and becoming more powerful, like a video game, but in real life. It is exciting and fun. I had a good time, obviously. We then had Seven Devils by Elizabeth May and L.R. Lamb, which was like right after the other one. So that was not on purpose, it just happened. So we have these 7 characters that is kind of going against this empire. And one of them is also like the lost princess of the empire. And then I didn't really care for this either. I just couldn't get into the story and the writing and all that. It was just like, whatever, the whole thing. Even though I did feel like it could have been a cool sci-fi adventure, I just never fell for the story completely. And I gave this one, I do believe, a 2, possibly 2.5, maybe around it up to 3 as well. Then I listened to Capitana by Cassandra James. So this was, I do believe, like the February pick for Lumatere. I skipped it personally, and apparently the author is very problematic, but I did like borrow it to read it for the sake of the Lumatere vlog. It is like a pirate story, and the reason I skipped it initially was because I thought it didn't sound interesting. So we have my character who like her parents were executed for being like pirates, and now there's new pirate things happening. They're going out on this journey. She needs to realize that the whole like society she has believed in since her parents died is not as good as she thinks. And it was just very uninteresting and boring, and it's just like so obvious, and I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the characters at all. The plot didn't really give me anything. I just didn't generally think that the book was not good. So I did not have a good time with it. Luckily for me, the audiobook was very short, and I did give it a 1 star. Then I did read Once the Future Wishes, which I owned for a really, really long time, and I've been decided for a really long time to read it. And I was severely disappointed. I did not care for the story at all. We have like witches. We are set in 1893. They're being haunted. They're trying to vote. It's like vote by rights, and it's about like these characters that were witches and like sisterhood and blah. And I didn't care. I couldn't get into like the story. I was very disappointed. I was very, very disappointed because I owned it for so long and really thought I would like it. I didn't. I gave it a 2-star. And I am sad about this, honestly. But now I can unhaul it and get more space. The same with... Then we also have the Ravens. I have like a rare Norwegian edition called Ravnene, which is translated. I did not read this. I borrowed it at the library, so I read the English one. By Cass Morgan, Deli, and Paige. We have like in a sorority place. There's also witches, which was right after one another. Again, a bit random. And then stuff is happening and they need to witch stuff, and there was like stupid drama, and I really did not like this one at all. I couldn't get into it, did not enjoy like the setting or the writing or the characters or anything, so I gave this also a 1-star. I was not having a great time, guys, okay? It's no weird that I read so little. Everything I was reading was not good, so you know. Then I could read a manga, a palate cleanser as it's called, To Your Eternity Volume 10. I am really enjoying it, but I didn't have as good time with this as I had like the last 2 volumes. So now I was just like, can we get through the good stuff again? But it was still a good time. Follow an orb that can turn into the people he cared about that died. And it's sad. It's about life and sadness and friendship and sadness. I forgot one book. No, I need to get it off. We have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Emma Reed, which was also for the Lumatere blog, and I do have the Lumatere edition. It was fine. We have a main character that doesn't have any power. She meets like this prince and I go out on this journey together. I felt like it was like fine. I liked the atmosphere and the writing. Like the journey was fine between them. It was like, it didn't blow my mind or anything, but it was a totally okay book. And I did give it a 3 or 2, I don't know. We then had The Devil Makes Three by Tori Bovalino. It was really hard for me to like, because I liked it a lot and then I didn't like it and then I liked it and then I didn't like it. But we are like sat at this school. It's kind of like a dark academia thing, and then we are like in this library and then we summon things, but it doesn't go exactly as planned, and then we need to fight this, and it's like secrets, and then we have these 2 characters that keep meeting and like are in the library and work together, and then also fall for each other maybe a bit, and then I also have like different pasts, etc. I did find it at times, I was just very intrigued to be in this library and just like explore things and then like demons and all that. But on another hand, I was just also like, are we gonna get somewhere? Like, I wasn't really like enjoying myself that much. But then I was like also invested in the story at the same time. So it was a bit confusing because I couldn't decide, because at first, like the first few chapters, I felt like, oh my god, this is so good. But then it did really out for me. So I give it like a 3. Then I read The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig, which was not for Lumatere vlog. It was just a book I had borrowed at the library and it was expiring. And this one followed like a 13th child in this family. She has a godfather that came and said that he would come and take her away, but it comes like many, many years later after being basically abused by her family for like, was it 9 years or 11 years? I can't recall. And she has like a special power, so she's being taught to be a healer. And then like we grow up with her a bit, where like she goes out to be a healer, and there's like different things that he has in store for her, and like it's very much about like, can you not do these things? And she keeps doing the things that she's not supposed to do. Like for example, she sees like a death mark on people's faces and she knows she can't save them as a healer, but then she tries to save them anyway and just messes up things. And she keeps doing similar things to this, and it's very annoying because it has like really severe consequences, and I'm like, girl, please. Really liked it because like her godfather is death, and he's like kind of dark and but still at the same time like found family cozy feeling. But then it just totally diverts from that. Like it starts being about something completely else in a way, and it's super annoying me so much because I was so invested in that part of like the dark and gothic part of the story. And then we just like have humans we care for, and I just like, it annoyed me so much, like the shift in focus of the story, because it was going in like a very trajectory that I was enjoying. I couldn't predict what was going on, but then we came to a certain place in the story where it was just like so like everything else. And then I was very disappointed because I was enjoying it so much. Like literally I had like 5-star feeling. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be, I need to buy a copy, etc. And then I was left with like, do I even care anymore? And that was very sad for me, especially since I enjoyed the other 2 books by the author a lot as well. Which is why I wanted to try this out and not buy it in case I didn't like this one. And here we are. So I did end up giving it a 4, but like often now, considering how much I dislike the second part of the book, I would maybe give like a 3.5 or a 3 even, because I'm sad. I'm sad because I enjoyed it so much, and I was just like texting my friends and I was like, oh my god, it's so good. And then it just did not go in a direction that I felt the story deserved. Then we have Mashle Magic Commercials Volume 4, which was the last manga I read. So I did not read a lot of manga, as I said. Just in his magic school, but he fights people with mushrooms and not magic. And it was fine. I don't really care that much for it. I thought I would enjoy the story overall more, so hoping it will pick itself off more. I do believe always that the first and second volume is the best, and then we have like a little slide, and then it gets better around like 6 and 7. So hopefully that is what's going on. Then Erica and I read Crown of Midnight by Sarah Brass because I am rereading and she's reading for the first time, and then we're reading them as like they come in from the library. When I first read it, this was my favorite in the series, and I gave it 5 stars. Now I'm giving it a 3. It is like completely almost the same as Throne of Glass. I didn't really care for anything. I just really feel like the magic the series had when like I was really enjoying it. Like it was super addicting and fun, and now I just feel nothing. I don't know if it's me that has changed too much to like the story as much as I did. Maybe I shouldn't be rereading, honestly. It's ruining my memories. But yeah, I found everyone very useless. Like we have like characters that we are being told over and over how powerful and cool and amazing they are, and they just keep being kidnapped and overpowered all the time. And I know you shouldn't have an overpowered main character because that is also boring, but it's also boring when like they get kidnapped every 4 seconds and don't do anything. So I don't know. But the things in this that I found super exciting the first time I read it, since I knew they were gonna happen, maybe that also impacted my enjoyment. But overall, I don't know what even to say anymore. I gave it a 3, and maybe I shouldn't have reread. Okay, so the last book I read in February was Taste of the Peculiar by Ransom Weeks, which was for my Patreon read along. So I read it for the last day, and then the live show was literally like the first day. So this is a like short story collection set in a peculiar world. I really enjoyed it. I read my review from when I first read it because apparently I wrote one. Wow, me. And the stories that I wrote as my favorites then were the favorites now, and there was some that were unforgettable and did really not enjoy. But then there are some that are really, really good and like really nicely fleshes out the world and gave us more like bones on the body for the world, and I really enjoyed that. And now we're gonna head into the second trilogy in the series, so I'm excited for that. Yay. And that was the reads I had for February. So overall not that successful reading month in amount of like what I enjoyed and amount of reads. Both is disappointing, I agree. But yeah, hopefully March will be better in both regards. We shall see. You shall see me soon in a new one. Thank you so much for watching. Leave like plants or something down below because there's so many branches here. Like a tree. I don't know. If you enjoyed this, and you should see me soon. Bye.